Quarterback is the most important position in all of sports, and they often dictate whether an NFL team is going to be good or not. It's very hard to win a Super Bowl without a good quarterback, but who is actually the best? In this video, I'm going to be ranking the top 32 quarterbacks heading into the 2025 season. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop a like and subscribe if you're new. I spent a ton of time putting this video together, so hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, and let's get started. Number 32, Tyler Shough, New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr retired this offseason, so the Saints needed to do something at quarterback. There weren't a lot of options out there, but they decided to spend a second-round pick on Tyler Shough. I like Shough coming out more than most, but he definitely has his deficiencies. For one, he's 25 years old, he'll turn 26 in September, and he's played 7 years in college. He was Justin Herbert's backup at Oregon. Justin Herbert is entering his 6th year in the league. Shough is basically a grandfather compared to the other rookies in this class. He's also had a long list of injury problems. He suffered 2 broken collarbones in 2021 and 22 and a broken fibula in 2023. That's why he was in college for so long, but he was a good prospect. He's got good size, standing at 6'5", and he's got the arm talent and accuracy to play at the NFL level. Also, because of how long he's been in college, the mental side of the position is pretty much there for him. His processing is good, and he also has good pocket presence. He sometimes tends to, fall apart under pressure, but other than that, he has pretty much everything you would look for in a QB prospect. He obviously isn't the best. I mean, he definitely would have not been the second QB taken in most other draft classes, but he is good. However, with him being a second-round rookie with massive injury concerns, I simply can't rank him very high. Hopefully he survives the disastrous shithole that is the New Orleans Saints. Number 31, Joe Flacco, Cleveland Browns. The Browns QB room is an absolute mess, but out of the 4 in there, I think Flacco is the best of the bunch. He is 40 years old, but has played solid the past few years when needed. In 2023, he managed to take the Browns to the playoffs, throwing 13 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. And in 2024, he was decent on the Colts, filling in for Anthony Richardson, throwing for 1,761 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions in 7 games. He still has a solid arm and can stand tall in the pocket and make all the necessary throws. His mobility is obviously non-existent, and his accuracy isn't great, but he definitely is still a solid, albeit low-end starting caliber quarterback. Never mind the fact that he could be the father of multiple other QBs on this list. Flacco definitely isn't someone you ideally want starting, but he does provide a decent floor at the QB position. Number 30, JJ McCarthy, Minnesota Vikings. McCarthy was the Vikings' 10th overall pick back in 2024, but he missed his entire rookie season due to a torn meniscus. But now that Sam Darnold's out the door, McCarthy is going to be taking that starting job. I like JJ as a prospect. He definitely wasn't the best, but he has a good arm, the accuracy is there, and he sees the field well. He wasn't asked to do a lot at Michigan, they were more of a run-heavy team, but when he was asked to make a big throw or convert on a 3rd down, he did it more often than not. He also looked really good in his one preseason game from last year. Obviously, I can't rank McCarthy too high because he hasn't taken a single snap in the NFL, but I do think he has a lot of upside, and in that Kevin O'Connell system, should be able to climb this list. Number 29, Anthony Richardson, Indianapolis Colts. Richardson has all the tools to be a great quarterback in this league. He is 6'5", runs a 4.4 40, can throw the ball 70 yards with ease, all of it. Unfortunately, he also is the most polarizing, inconsistent quarterback I've ever had the pleasure and displeasure to watch. One second, he's throwing a 70-yard bomb for a touchdown, the next, he's throwing the worst interception you've ever seen. The accuracy is just so all over the place with Richardson, and that led to him having a 47.7 completion percentage, by far the lowest in the league. He also threw 8 touchdowns to 12 interceptions, and everyone remembers the time he just took himself out of the game because he was tired. Richardson was top 5 in both big-time throw percentage and turnover-worthy play percentage, which I think perfectly encapsulates the random bullshit go that is Anthony Richardson. He just hasn't been able to find any sort of consistency, and that's what holds him back from being a truly great NFL quarterback. Number 28, Justin Fields, New York Jets. Fields started the season at QB for Pittsburgh, and while he wasn't asked to do much, he played his role pretty well. He threw for 1,106 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 interception in 6 games, while having 6 big-time throws to 6 turnover-worthy plays. He still doesn't and probably never will have the ability to fully read the field, at least on a consistent level, but he did mostly take care of the football through the air and went 4-2 as a starter. He did probably have the worst season of his career on the ground though, carrying the ball 62 times for 289 yards and 5 touchdowns. touchdowns. His 4.7 yards per carry were the lowest of his career, and he also had 6 fumbles, a problem that has plagued him his entire career. Overall, Fields isn't an awful quarterback, but I don't think he's going to become the Jets franchise QB or anything. Number 27, Cam Ward, Tennessee Titans. The first overall pick from this year's draft, Ward definitely wasn't the best first overall quarterback, but he was still a very good prospect. He's got a really good arm and easily has the best pocket presence in this class. He does tend to make some bad decisions and force downfield throws, but overall, I did like Ward, and the only reason he ranks this low is because he's a rookie and has to prove himself. I wish the Titans gave him a bit more to work with than Calvin Ridley and a box of scraps, but I do think he definitely has the potential to climb this list. Number 26, Michael Penix Jr., Atlanta Falcons. Penix was easily the most surprising pick of the 2024 draft because the Falcons had just given Kirk Cousins a 4-year deal earlier that offseason, but Cousins was trash outside of 2 random games against the Buccaneers, and now Penix is slated to be the starter going forward. Penix played in just 3 games in 2024, but showed a lot of flashes, completing 61 out of his 105 attempts for 775 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. But 2 of those interceptions weren't his fault. He was especially good in Week 18 against the Panthers, as he had 312 yards and 7 big-time throws, which is insane. He showcased his immense arm talent and zip, and could put the ball anywhere. He definitely isn't perfect, his accuracy was all over the place, but overall, he looked pretty good. Obviously, his sample size of good play is small, so he can't rank too high, but I do think the Falcons found themselves a good quarterback. Number 25, Russell Wilson, New York Jets. After a pretty disastrous 2 seasons in Denver, Russ rode over to Pittsburgh, where in 11 games, he threw for 2,482 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. His first few games were really good. He even had a 414-yard, 3-touchdown game against the Bengals in Week 13. But as the season went on, Wilson struggled more and more and was ultimately not good enough to get the Steelers a playoff win. Russ did still display his incredible deep ball, as he had some really nice throws down the field, and he also did a great job of taking care of the football, as he had just a 1.7 turnover-worthy play percentage. But his mobility is not what it used to be, and his inability to consistently see the middle of the field came to light. He didn't play bad, but he wasn't anything amazing. At this stage of his career, Russ is still a solid quarterback, and I think he and Malik Nabers can connect on some big plays, but he won't be elevating the Giants to playoff contention or anything. Number 24, Drake May, New England Patriots. May was the 3rd overall pick by the Patriots in 2024. He began starting games in Week 6, and in the 11 games he played, May threw for 2,276 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. He also was a solid contributor on the ground, rushing for 421 yards and 2 touchdowns. May's raw numbers don't look amazing, but you have to remember that he probably had the worst supporting cast in the league. His O-line couldn't stop a nosebleed, and his top wide receiver was former 6th-round pick Demario Douglas. He quite literally had no one to work with, and frankly, I think he played quite well given his situation. He showed a ton of flashes, his cannon of an arm, his mobility, his ability to create something out of nothing, it was all there. The accuracy could use some work, and he made some head-scratching decisions at times, but I really like what I saw out of May. With a new and improved supporting cast, I think May could definitely have a big year too. Number 23, Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers. Young had a rookie season from hell, as it seemed like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. In 2024, with a new head coach, Young was supposed to take a step forward, but he looked awful to begin the season. His first pass was an interception and he was benched after just 2 games. But after Andy Dalton got into a goddamn car accident of all things, Young stepped back out there, and for the final 10 games, he looked like a completely changed person. In those 10 games, Young threw for 2,104 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. Young went from a surefire bust to one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the league, and he had some incredible games, including a 5-touchdown game against the Falcons in Week 18. He actually ended his rookie season with a 6.6 big-time throw percentage, which was 3rd in the entire league. He looked like the guy we saw at Alabama. He had incredible pocket presence, he extended plays, he made some insane throws, it was all there. I obviously can't rank Young too high based on 10 games of good play, considering he had a full season of awful play before, but I am really excited to see what Young can do going forward. Number 22, Tua Tagovailoa, Miami Dolphins. Tua has been a tough quarterback to rank over the years. At times he's flirted with being top 10, other times he's flirted with being bottom 10. He has unfortunately dealt with some serious injury concerns over his career, suffering multiple concussions, and that continued this year, as he suffered yet another one in Week 2. And in the 11 games he did play, he was just okay, throwing for 2,867 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. He had more turnover-worthy plays than big-time throws, and had the lowest yards per attempt since 2020. 2021. He still has the accuracy and anticipation, but his arm strength has always been below average, and he still does make some head-scratching reads at times. And obviously, there is the injury concern. I think Tua is a solid QB, but I don't think he's in the top half anymore. Number 21, Sam Darnold, Seattle Seahawks. Darnold is probably the toughest quarterback to rank in the entire league because his 2024 season was absolutely elite. He was legitimately a top 10 quarterback. His 4,319 passing yards was 5th in the league, and his 35 passing touchdowns was also 5th. His 5.6 big time throw percentage was 7th, and his 7.9 yards per attempt was tied for 6th. However, everyone remembers his end of season collapse, where in week 18 against the Lions, in a game that decided who would get the 1 seed in the NFC, Darnold played awful, missing all kinds of throws, and the Vikings lost 31-9. In the wildcard game against the Rams a week later, Darnold was even worse, taking 9 sacks and overall having an awful game, losing 27-9. His O-line collapsed, yes, but he held onto the ball way too long and was just not ready for the spotlight. Plus, Darnold did have an incredible supporting cast with Kevin O'Connell, Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson, and Jordan Addison. On one hand, Darnold was a top 10 quarterback in 2024. On the other hand, it was the only season where he was anywhere close to that, and he screwed it up at the end. I think Darnold is a solid quarterback at this stage of his career, but honestly, I just have no idea. Number 20, Trevor Lawrence, Jacksonville Jaguars. Lawrence is a super frustrating quarterback because he was drafted number 1 overall on the thought that he was a generational prospect who would be a perennial top 10 quarterback in the NFL. But apart from his 2022 season, Lawrence hasn't come close to that level. He played just 10 games in 2024, suffering a season-ending concussion in week 13. In those 10 games, he threw for 2,045 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. He did have the most yards per attempt of his career, but he had his lowest big-time throw percentage his rookie year and the highest turnover-worthy play percentage of his career. Lawrence is one of the strongest arms in the league and has the ability to put the ball anywhere and everywhere, but he can't do it consistently. He's shown signs of his full potential, but hasn't been able to reach it, and at this point, I'm not sure if he ever will. Number 19, Geno Smith, Las Vegas Raiders. Smith has had one of the best stories in the entire NFL, being a complete bust for the Jets before having a late career revival with Seattle. He now takes his talents to Las Vegas, reuniting with Pete Carroll. In his final season with Seattle, Geno threw for a career-high 4,320 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. Those 15 picks don't look great, but he did only have a 2.6 turnover-worthy play percentage, so I'm not concerned with his ability to take care of the football. Once again, Geno showed that he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league. His 70.6 completion percentage was 5th, and he still throws a beautiful deep ball. He's almost 35 years old, but I still think even with his age, he's a very solid quarterback. Number 18, Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears. Williams had tons of expectations, being drafted number 1 overall in 2024 and being put into what was thought to be one of the best QB situations in the league. Unfortunately, that ended up not being the case, as his coaching was awful, Keenan Allen was a major disappointment, and his offensive line was arguably the worst in the NFL. Despite this, Williams actually played quite well, throwing for 3,541 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. He took care of the football for the most part and made a lot of really high-level throws that were super impressive. He showcased everything about him that made him a generational prospect. He did have a tendency to hold on to the ball too long, and paired with this awful low line, did lead to him being by far the most sacked quarterback in the league. But overall, I think Caleb is a very solid quarterback right now with the potential to climb as high as top 10 by the end of the season. Number 17, Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals. Just like Lawrence, Murray's another former number 1 overall pick that just hasn't reached his upside. This was Kyler's first full season since 2021, and he was solid, throwing for 3,851 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. He showed flashes of that brilliance we know is in there, especially in week 2 against the Rams and week 18 against the 49ers, but overall, he was just alright. A big reason why Murray wasn't as good as he could have been was because he's been running the ball way less. He has ever since he came back from his injury. 2023 and 2024 were the first times he had less than 6 rushing attempts per game, and in 2024, that was a career low 4.6 attempts. He can still do it. In fact, his 7.3 yards per carry in 2024 were the highest of his career, but he doesn't seem to want to run the ball despite the fact that that's one of his biggest strengths. Kyler can figure out how to get back to his 2021 form or even better, he will rise up this list. Number 16, Bo Nix, Denver Broncos. Nix was the 6th quarterback off the board in 2024, but after all the rookie seasons are complete, I have Nix just above Caleb as the 2nd best QB from this this class. Nix was really good in his rookie season, throwing for 3,775 yards, 29 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. His overall playstyle reflected his college game to a T, but he ramped it up for the NFL. He didn't push the ball downfield much, as he had just 6.7 yards per attempt and a 3.5 big time throw percentage, but he was efficient, accurate, and did an incredible job at taking care of the football, having just a 1.9 turnover worthy play percentage, which was tied for 6th lowest in the league. He did have some really nice downfield throws though, and the ability to throw the deep ball is definitely in there. He also did some good stuff on the ground, rushing for 430 yards and 4 touchdowns. Overall, after one season, I think Nix has emerged as a very solid quarterback, and if he keeps it up, should be the Broncos starter for a long while. Number 15, Aaron Rodgers, Pittsburgh Steelers. It's no secret that Rodgers' control over the Jets organization completely ruined their entire franchise. He tried to be the quarterback, offensive coordinator, head coach, and GM at the same time, and everything just completely collapsed. But his actual on-field play wasn't awful. He was 8th in passing yards with 3,897 and tied for 7th in passing touchdowns with 28. He did have 11 interceptions, but only had a 1.8 turnover-worthy play percentage, the 5th lowest in the league, and his lowest since 2018. He's always been amazing at not putting the ball in harm's way, and he is still among the best in the league at that. Rodgers definitely isn't perfect. He's now 41 years old, and being a grandfather by NFL standards does have his limitations. His mobility is completely shot. He simply cannot move like he used to, and while he does have elite pocket presence, he can't always take advantage of that and extend plays like he could in years past. His arm is also not what it used to be. It's still good, but because of his weird mechanics, he can't make every throw in the book anymore, and he did miss more throws this year than in years past. He's still incredibly accurate, but as with most things about him, it's not what it used to be. We'll see if he continues to regress in Pittsburgh or is able to get some of his magic back, but as of right now, I think he's a very solid mid-tier quarterback. Number 14, Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys. Prescott is an interesting quarterback to rank because the past 5 seasons have been all over the place. It's safe to say Prescott hasn't been the most consistent quarterback in the 2020s. In 2020, he only played 5 games and was solid but not anything special. In 2021, he bounced back, having a really good season, but in 2022, he missed time again, playing just 12 games where he was solid but not anything special. In 2023, he once again bounced back, having a really good season, but in 2024, and I think you can see where this is going, he once again missed time, playing just 8 games and, say it with me, was solid but not anything special. 2024 was actually probably the worst season of his career, as he had by far his highest turnover-worthy play percentage, his lowest yards per attempt since 2017, and his lowest completion percentage since 2017. With him now being 32 years old, I don't really know what to think of Prescott. I don't think he's top 10, but I definitely don't think he's in the bottom half like some rankings had them. We'll see how he looks in 2025. Number 13, Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers. Love broke out in his first season as a starter last year, and in 2024, he was expected to build off that success. Unfortunately, he wasn't quite able to do that. A minor injury kept him out of 2 games, but in the 15 he did play, Love threw for 3,389 yards, 25 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. He did have more yards per attempt in 2024 compared to 2023, but also had a lower completion percentage, lower big time throw percentage, and higher turnover-worthy play percentage. I still think relatively the same about Love as I did before this year. He can make all the throws in the book, and he does a pretty good job of taking care of the football, but his accuracy is inconsistent, and he does sometimes make some boneheaded mistakes. Overall, Love is a very good quarterback, and honestly, the Packers need to stop getting away with always finding franchise quarterbacks easily. Number 12, Brock Purdy, San Francisco 49ers. Purdy has always gotten flack for being a, quote, system quarterback, but I always have thought he was more than that. His numbers did regress in 2024 compared to 2023, throwing for 3,864 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, but he did have a ton of players on offense miss time, including Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall, Trent Williams, and Christian McCaffrey. His O-line was not very good, and his top receivers through most of the season were regressing Deebo Samuel and Juwan Jennings. I still think Purdy played quite well given the circumstances, and I think this season only reinforced the idea that Purdy is not just a system quarterback. Number 11, Jared Goff, Detroit Lions. Goff's ascension ever since being traded to Detroit has been super fun to watch, and I think he's coming off the best season of his career. He threw for 4,629 yards, which was second in the league, along with a career-high 37 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. He also had the second highest completion percentage in the entire league at 72.4%. That was the highest of his career, along with a career-high 8.6 yards per attempt. So why does Goff rank at 11 and not higher? Well, he did have an absolutely abysmal playoff performance against the Commanders this year, which definitely doesn't help, but he also had the same amount of big time throws as turnover-worthy plays, and actually had just a 3.1 big time throw percentage, which isn't great. He benefited a lot from yards after the catch and didn't really push the ball downfield much. But overall, I think Goff is a good quarterback who is firmly in that tier 2 level and has the potential to take the Lions all the way. Number 10, CJ Stroud, Houston Texans. Stroud had one of the best rookie seasons of all time in 2023, but in 2024 he wasn't quite as good. However, people are pushing the whole sophomore slump narrative way too much. Stroud wasn't bad in 2024, but his situation crumbled around him. All of his top 3 receivers missed time at some point, his O-line was one of the worst in the league, and his play calling was subpar. While everything around Stroud went right in 2023, it all went wrong in 2024. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. Does he deserve to drop a bit on the list? Absolutely yes. But I still think Stroud is a top 10 quarterback in this league, and as long as the Texans don't have the same horrible injury like they did last year, I think Stroud will have a bounce back season. Number 9, Justin Herbert, Los Angeles Chargers. Herbert is coming off arguably the best season of his career. He threw for 3,870 yards, 23 touchdowns, and just 3 interceptions. He had the highest yards per attempt of his career and by far the highest big time throw percentage, as his 6.1% was 4th in the entire league. However, due to the rise of some other quarterbacks that we'll get to and his atrocious playoff performance against the Texans, I do think Herbert is closer to the 10th best quarterback in the league rather than the 5th like he has been in seasons past. In the Chargers wildcard game, Herbert completed just 43.8% of his passes and threw 4 interceptions. He definitely didn't help the whole playoff choker narrative. He still does have one of, if not the best arm talent in the NFL, and I still do think very highly of him, but he does have to fall a bit. Number 8, Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia Eagles. I've seen a lot of top 5 talk with Hurts, but I can't quite get there with him. I do think he's a very good quarterback, but he's not in the elite conversation. In 14 games, Hurts threw for 2,903 yards, 18 touchdowns, and just 5 interceptions. He also played well in the playoffs, throwing for 726 yards and 5 touchdowns, and just 1 pick. And his good playoff performances are why he ranks above Herbert. But overall, I do think Hurts benefits a lot from the situation he's in, more than any other quarterback in the league, besides maybe Sam Darnold last year with Minnesota. He's one of the best receiving duos in the league, along with the best offensive line and running back. Hurts actually had a career-high turnover-worthy play percentage in 2024, and more turnover-worthy plays than big-time throws. I do think very highly of Hurts, but he's in the top 5. Number 7, Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mayfield's career resurgence has been nothing short of incredible to watch, and he had his best season yet in 2024, throwing for 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns, both of which were career highs. He did have 16 interceptions, which isn't knock, but he never has been one to take great care of the football. He also had a career-high 7.9 yards per attempt and a 71.4 completion percentage. He finished 3rd in yards and tied for 2nd in touchdowns. He also played exceptional in his one playoff game this year, throwing 15 for 18 for 185 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. If he had gotten the opportunity to throw more than 18 times, I think the Bucs would have won that game. Mayfield has been awesome in Tampa, and I'm just super happy to see him inside the top 7. Number 6, Jayden Daniels, Washington Commanders. The Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2024, Daniels arguably had the best rookie season of all time. He threw for 3,568 yards, 25 touchdowns, and just 9 interceptions. He also ran for 891 yards, which is 2nd among quarterbacks, along with 6 rushing touchdowns, tied for 3rd. He did all this while leading the Commanders to a 12-5 record and reaching the NFC Conference Championship game, a playoff run that included beating the 1-seeded Detroit Lions. Daniels' breakout game came in Week 3 against the Bengals, where he completed 91.3% of his passes, going 21 for 23 for 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. From there, he absolutely dominated both through the air and on the ground. Daniels was incredible as a rookie, and I'm super excited to see what he can do going forward. Number 5, Matthew Stafford, Los Angeles Rams. Stafford's raw numbers made it look like those of a top 5 quarterback, but I personally believe that even at 37 years old, Stafford is still playing at an elite level. He threw for 3,762 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, but both of his top receivers missed extended time and his offensive line wasn't great. He was dealing with way below average weapons for a while and still managed to play at a high level. He also was the only quarterback to come anywhere close to knocking out the Eagles in the playoffs, as the Rams only lost by 6 points and were a drive away from beating the eventual Super Bowl champions. I know it seems insane putting Stafford as a top 5 quarterback at 37 years old, but that's just what I believe. Number 4, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals. I'll be honest, every single one of these top 4 guys can be in any order. They're all elite, tier 1 quarterbacks, and they're super close in talent level. This is just the order I decided, but again, any of them can be switched around and I wouldn't have a problem with it. But on to Joe Burrow, who is the best pure pocket passer in the NFL. Despite having an awful defense that couldn't do anything, Burrow still willed the Bengals to a 9-8 record, throwing for a league-leading 4,918 yards, 43 touchdowns, and just 9 interceptions. Despite throwing 652 passes, Burrow still maintained a 70.6 completion percentage, a 5.9 big time throw percentage, and an incredible 1.9 turnover worthy play percentage. He is the most accurate quarterback in the league in my opinion. He has underrated arm strength, his pocket presence is amazing, everything you look for in a QB besides elite mobility, Burrow has it. Hopefully the Bengals can actually give this man a competent defense and they can get back into the playoffs. Number 3, Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens. The best dual threat quarterback of all time, Jackson is coming off the best season of his career. He threw for a career high 4,172 yards, 41 touchdowns, and just 4 interceptions. He had the 5th highest big time throw percentage in the league and the lowest turnover worthy play percentage at just 1.4%. He had the highest passer rating among starting quarterbacks at 119.6, and he also led all quarterbacks with 915 rushing yards. The only thing Jackson hasn't done yet is make a Super Bowl, but there's no doubt that he is an incredible quarterback. Number 2, Josh Allen, Buffalo Bills. The reigning MVP, Allen had arguably the best season of his career in 2024, throwing for 3,731 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. He's always been known as turnover prone, but not this year, as he had a career low 2.6 turnover worthy play percentage. He also had a 7.1 big time throw percentage, which led the entire NFL. He also ran for 531 yards and 12 touchdowns, those 12 touchdowns being second among quarterbacks. Allen also beat and outplayed Lamar Jackson in their playoff game, which is the main reason why he ranks above Jackson. Allen is a truly special talent, and if you watch my predictions video that I posted last week, which you definitely should, then let's just say I have Allen finally doing something he's never done before in his career. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes may not have put up the most insane regular season numbers the past 2 years, but when it comes to the playoffs, there is no quarterback in this entire league that I would rather have than Mahomes. He's made the conference championship every season of his career, has won 3 Super Bowls, and has never lost to Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. The only 3 quarterbacks he's ever lost a playoff game to are once to Joe Burrow, once to Jalen Hurts, and twice to Tom Brady, the literal GOAT. Out of all the quarterbacks with at least 10 playoff games, Mahomes has the highest passer rating out of all of them. Mahomes has played 21 playoff games, but has only had 2 legitimately bad playoff games his entire career, and both of those times was because his offensive line looked and blocked like a group of pee-wee kids. I know it's more unpopular now, but I still think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. But that's it. Those are my top 32 quarterbacks heading into the 2025 NFL season. Or do you agree? Or do you disagree? Comment below. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop a like and subscribe if you're new, and that's it for me. See ya.